Cards Hub 365 coming your way on a Tuesday. Joe Roderick, Mike Claiborne with you. Claib's still down in Jupiter. Cardinals 4-4 tie with the Marlins, and the bullpen there in the ninth kept you there a little longer, blowing a lead and forcing the bottom of the ninth to be played.
Yeah, it was one of those situations, and we've talked about it before with regard to players who don't have a direct involvement with the start of your season. Zach Weiss came in. He's a journeyman. He just didn't have it. And he gave him the chance to get back in the game. But here's the deal. Everybody else played well today.
Yeah.
Zach Weiss will have no bearing on this year's season. It just is one of those days. But the other side of that coin, Joe, you had three guys who were trying to make the ball club, right? And Barrero, Fermin, and Baker. All three of them had a chance to do something in the ninth inning, and they didn't. So,
that's it. So you mentioned, though, you still think Baker is fighting for a position, or do you think he has that locked in right now?
I think he still is fighting. I think they're going to try and be creative with this roster. Masyn Winn came up with a sore wrist today, so we don't know how that's going to look down the road. Remember you have a lot of off days in the month of April, so what you see on opening day may not see the same thing April 15th or April 30th. It just, you want to have 26 of the healthiest players that you can bring up. And then after that, you take your chances. And I think the same thing applies to what this pitching staff is going to look like.
Yeah. And by the way, on sportshubstl.com right now, the featured article, a lot of us here, the Sports Hub staff, gave our predictions as what we think the opening day lineup will look like. And I think of the 8 of us that have submitted it so far, I think we have 8 different lineups posted. So a lot of different thoughts on how the Cardinals are going to line up on day one.
So here's what I would say. Now, Lopez is scheduled to start for the Minnesota Twins, right?
Yes.
Lefty?
Lopez isn't a lefty, is he?
See, I thought
Pablo Lopez, I thought was a righty.
Well, let's look him up.
I will. We will.
Yeah.
Pablo Lopez is a right-handed pitcher. Yeah.
Okay. So I would alter my lineup because I was under the impression that they were looking at another guy because Lopez had a couple of issues. But I would change it just a little bit. But overall, I think that while we may have different lineups with regard to positioning, I think we talked about the same 8 or 9 players.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 9 or 10, I think is for sure what it's going to look like if everybody's healthy. It's just a matter of where they wind up in the end there with that. So, yeah, check that out, sportshubstl.com. Bright spot from today, Claibs. Miles Mikolas goes 6 innings and looked good in 6 innings. Allowed scattered 6 hits, 2 walks on there, but only gave up 3 runs.
Yeah, the first walk of the game came back to get him. Other than that, I thought he was good. I think he retired 8 in a row at one point. He's still a strike thrower. The thing was, Joe, they weren't squaring him up. I mean, they were dink hit there, dink hit there. Nothing that I would consider damage or leakage like we saw last year. Kept the ball down, mixed up his pitches reasonably well. There was a sequence that I really wasn't excited about, but I think maybe that was a situation where they just wanted to see what it looked like against other hitters. And guys are still doing that, by the way. They're still trying to see what reactions they get off of hitters when they throw certain pitches, and maybe it's the count they're looking at. So there are a lot of issues that are still being undertaken as we're running out of innings, we're running out of at-bats, so everything counts right now.
Yeah, the only a few games left. Thursday they do have an off day, and then once Sunday's done, I mean, the spring training. We'll know what the 26th looks like for opening day. Claibs, they were talking about on the TV broadcast today and with Brad Thompson about what this last week looks like, and it was who I don't know who was doing play-by-play today on the TV side.
He's the Marlins. Yeah, he is a great guy. Kyle is his name, and I've watched him ascend in this business. He was a radio producer at one point.
Yeah, but he mentioned just to Brad Thompson, hey, guys that, last week are guys starting to relax and kind of wind down and be done with spring training. And Brad Thompson said, for a guy like me, Absolutely not, because my spot was never guaranteed.
Yeah.
And there's guys that, of my skill level that are wondering if they're going to be in St. Louis or they're going to be in Memphis. So these final few games is their last chance to show why they belong on that big league roster.
He's absolutely right. And just like I mentioned with the three guys at the plate, all had a chance to be difference makers today, and they didn't. So they're still even, in my opinion. I mean, one may have a slight edge from there to here, but it's not enough to make wholesale changes. They are who they are. Do any of them have long-lasting careers? I don't know. But as far as what their service to this team is starting at the beginning of the season, that's critical. And you know what? We make a big deal about this, Joe. And the hardest thing about this is trying to find them playing time in the early part of the season.
Yeah.
They may sit for a bit. Maybe a getaway day game or something like that. But, if you have to put them in a lineup on a daily basis, something else has gone wrong.
Yeah, a lot of days off early on. We mentioned Miles going 6 innings in the game today. If you got a chance to watch it, give us your thoughts on what you liked out of what you saw from Miles Mikolas in possibly, I would say, his last start of the of spring training before maybe an inning. I guess it's what, Tuesday right now. He'll pitch again on Saturday or Sunday of the following week. So maybe he gets to start in Memphis.
Perhaps, that's going to be kind of a bullpen start. I mean, what you'll see is Miles maybe go 2 innings, and treat it like a bullpen day. And then they'll load up with a lot of minor league guys and let them finish it out. Unless some guys want some extra work, which I tend to doubt. They want to stay on this routine, this schedule. So I don't really see that changing very much. What I liked about Miles today was his durability. He had 83 pitches.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the fact that when I saw that he went out there for the 6th inning,
right,
a bit of a pause for concern in the 5th. At the end of the 5th inning, he took that line drive off the leg, and then very early, right away, you looked like it went off its wrist, but it missed.
Yeah, I thought it went off his belt buckle.
It hit kind of looked like it hit like inner thigh almost too, because then you're like, okay, well, it missed the outside of his thigh. Like, is he wearing a cup today? And kind of.
I don't know. Why don't you can call and ask him. Listen, he got out of it. He
did get out of it. That's what I'm just saying. The initial replay, you're kind of trying to figure out where did it actually hit him. And once he stayed in there, you're like, okay, that's good. And then he came out for the next inning. So everything seemed like it was okay.
Yeah, I think he came out for a couple of reasons. Still some things to work on. And B, what did he look like after sitting down?
Yeah.
And so it worked out well. He was strong today. We saw some guys take some good at-bats. Lars Newbar took some good at-bats. For me, with the home run, he had 2 hits today. There's some guys that are starting to round into shape, but it's just going to take a little time.
Yeah. This is Cards Hub 365, and we are powered by our friends over at Greybar. Are you still suffering from supply chain issues and they're disrupting your operations? Have no fear, because Greybar has you covered, and you could rely on their nationwide logistics network to get what you need, where they need, when they need to get there, all within budget. Greybar is a trusted and leading North American distributor of electrical communication, data networking, and industrial products. They literally support products of any industry with just one clear mission: to serve as that vital link in the supply chain, adding value for customers and suppliers with innovative solutions and services. Here's what you need to do. Visit greybar.com to start an order today. That's greybar.com. To fix those supply chain issues. Greybar, your distributor for electrical and data comm needs. Joe Roderick, Mike Claiborne with you. You mentioned it, and we were posting and tweeting about it earlier. Masyn Winn gets scratched from the lineup today with a sore wrist. Any word, any indication from the Cardinals how serious of an injury, how serious of an ailment that might be?
I left right after the game, so I'm sure Ollie was holding court. What they normally do is a debrief. I'm sure we'll know more about it tomorrow. But when you hear about a wrist, man, that's something you really have to be careful of and make sure you really look after it. And again, we don't know the extent, but I would think that it was more of a precaution. Just say, hey, look, let's not inflame anything. Let's not strain anything. And plus, you get a free look at some other guys in Barrera. That's one of the guys that's trying to make this ball club. So let's just keep our fingers crossed. This has been a pretty injury-free camp. I mean, other than Riley O'Brien, who had a little setback, and Drew Rom and Jordan Walker, we really haven't had anybody who was really, debilitated because of injury.
And the injury to Walker too, I mean, was a lot less severe than I think people thought at the beginning. I think it was one, if it happens in a regular season, he misses a lot less time than he did in spring training.
True. I agree with you. So, normally you play through those things, but, we've been lucky, knock on wood, that we can keep that going into the season.
And you look at some other camps around all of MLB that are, the Yankees are trying to figure out how they're going to get to 5 men in the rotation. You have other guys that are being shut down for the first few weeks of the season. I know the Marlins said Edward Cabrera is going to miss probably a couple starts to at the beginning of the year. So if you're looking, again, if you're trying to be optimistic about the start of this Cardinal season, you're looking for those silver linings. Health is one of those coming out.
No, you're right. And one of the other reasons is it's not like you're that deep in your minor league system. It's not like you have, a bunch of guys chomping at the bit to be part of this team. And the Cardinals need to buy some time in developing some players. Because the guys that I've seen, I don't think any of them were ready as far as minor league guys. And, when you see guys being sent out, they've been sent out for a reason, because you've seen enough of them, and they have to go play in order to get better. And they weren't going to play here.
Tomorrow, Claibs, Steven Matz on the mound for the Cardinals as they take on the Nationals. What are you looking for out of Steven Matz, who's had a pretty good spring so far?
Same consistency we've seen throughout. He and JoJo Romero are probably having the two best springs of anybody. He's strong. His delivery is quicker, and all of his pitches seem to be working. And then when he does run into trouble, he has that ability to get out. And that's been something that we haven't seen a great deal of. And, when you think about Steven Matz and Miles, Lars Nootbaar, you always think if he can stay healthy, if we can dodge this bullet, then who knows what you get. And I don't think it's a coincidence that when we see guys who've had these injury woes throughout the course of their careers or the course of the contract, when they're in that final year of the contract, man, things normally fall into place for them. So if that's the case for him, I'll take it. We'll see starting tomorrow in Washington. We'll probably see their A team tomorrow. We haven't seen much of it. So that could be a different look for Matz. But overall, I really like his direction. And I know when we talk about the rotation, everybody, let's just move him to the bullpen. It's not that easy, okay? It's not that easy. You already have a loaded bullpen. But I think he deserves to be a starter until he proves different.
Yeah, Jake Irvin pitching for the Nationals tomorrow. So that's who he will face that game again in Jupiter. And Claibs, you're on the call for that one too. Your last one of the spring?
Last one. I think I set the record this year. I think I probably did 15 games, 16 at least. And I love every minute of it. Work with a number of different people, and that's always fun. You can always learn by listening. And it's been good. I've enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to obviously when these games count. But we'll have fun tomorrow. John Rooney and I'll be on the call. We've always found a way to have a good time, and it won't end tomorrow.
And if you watch it on the TV, on the MLB app on your TV, the way that we've been doing it here at Sports Hub STL at our studios, you can switch the audio over to the radio audio for that.
Is that game on TV tomorrow?
I don't know. That's what all the games are for free on MLB TV. So if you go to the MLB app on your smart TV and you go to the Cardinal game, you can switch to whatever different audio options there are.
Yeah. So I don't think it is.
Yeah. So, well, then you just watch a blank screen. You can listen to the game and watch a blank screen if that's the case.
Washington is they don't do a lot TV wise down here. Radio, they're pretty consistent, but we haven't seen very many teams from other markets come in and do a TV game. Everybody's trying to, watch their money, I guess. I'm not sure. But, seldom do you see a road team travel a TV crew unless it's a split crew.
Regardless, we'll be listening to the call.
I would suggest to listen. That'll be more fun.
On that, absolutely. Hey, make sure you check out the Randy Carricker show featuring Brooke Grimsley on Friday. A mystery, look at that. Who's the third man? A mystery guest coming your way 10:15, 10:30
Tomorrow?
On the show. What's that?
Tomorrow?
Friday for that Friday.
I make sure I always tune in, but
that.
now I have another reason to tune in.
Yeah. So
kind of like this is before your time. There was a show called What's My Line?
Right.
And it's kind of like What's My Line? You give a few clues, and the panel tries to figure out who it is. So that sounds like that's going to be fun.
It will be. That's going to do it for our show today, Claibs. Enjoy your one of your last nights down there in Jupiter. Right. Maybe play a few tunes on that piano behind you, and just enjoy your Tuesday night.
Well, I got a dinner to go to tonight, so it'll be all good.
All right. Hey, that's Mike Claiborne. I'm Joe Roderick. This has been Cards Hub 365 here on Sports Hub STL.